السلام عليكم. أهلا وسهلا بطلاب الأعزاء. Today we are going to start with lesson 1 from Al-Kitab. So we start with part 1. The title is Masculine and Feminine Agreement in Arabic and Nisbah adjectives. In Arabic, nouns are always masculine, meaning مذكر, or feminine, which means مؤنث. So the noun is either مؤنث or مذكر. It is critical to distinguish between human and non-human nouns in Arabic. Here, when we talk about non-human, I will focus more about things. So, the gender of adjectives, pronouns, and verbs must agree in gender with the nouns they describe. And we are going to explain all of this. So here, let's start with examples with human nouns. I have the first example, صاحب or صاحب قريب. صاحب, which means a friend, a male friend. قريب, meaning close. Keep in mind that in Arabic, we start with the noun, then we finish with the adjective. In English, we describe first, we start with the adjective and then the noun. So keep this always in your head that, for example, here we have صاحب قريب. In English, it will be a close friend. We start from the adjective close friend. But in Arabic, we say friend close. Here you can see that صاحب is masculine. And you see at the end, we don't see nothing. We don't see a ta marbuta. Also, you see that قريب, the adjective that is describing the noun صاحب, follows the noun. Here it's singular, قريب is singular. صاحب is masculine, قريب, the adjective قريب, is masculine. If I wanted to talk about a female friend, we can, because we are talking about human nouns. So instead of saying صاحب, I would say صاحبة قريبة صاحبة قريبة. You see that the word or the noun صاحب, now we added a ta مربوطة. What does it mean, ta مربوطة? Meaning it's a close ta that we put at the end of a word. So this kind of ta, and you should learn this in your previous class or in middle school if you had Arabic in middle school. قريبة is an adjective. So we added to قريب, we added another ta مربوطة. Why? Because the adjective in Arabic follows the noun in gender and in number. So singular, singular. Feminine, feminine. Okay? Let's have another example. But here, I'm sorry, we had it the opposite. So here, let's see here. We have أستاذ جيد. Ustad meaning a teacher or a professor. Jaid meaning good. Here, Ustad is a masculine noun. Jaid is an adjective. So also Jaid is a masculine adjective. Ustad is singular. Jaid is singular. If I wanted to change my description and I'm talking about a female professor or a female teacher, yes, I can in Arabic. By doing what? By just adding a ta marbuta. So instead of saying أستاذ جيد, I would say أستاذة جيدة. By the way, I am using ton, meaning to dhamma, but in the natural speech, when we speak in Arabic, in general, we just say أستاذة, جيدة. So when you hear the or you hear you don't hear the ta. We don't say ustadatun, jayidatun when we speak. So you hear ustada, ustad. If you say ustad, you mean you are talking about a male teacher or a male professor. But if you say ustada, ustada, you mean that you added the ta marbuta, but we did not pronounce. You hear the okay? Now some people will ask, okay, here we are talking about jobs because sahib, sahiba, it's like a description to a friend. Then we have ustad, ustada. How about if we talk about a proper noun? Yes, we can. So here you have Muhammad. Muhammad, we know that it's a proper noun for a male person, for a male, for a because it's a masculine singular, the adjective must follow it. So we say Muhammadun Jamil or Muhammad Jamil. Muhammad is a noun, is a name for a person, for a male person. Jamil meaning beautiful, meaning handsome. Jamil, Jamil. If I wanted to do it grammatically, meaning the way we write it, it will be Muhammadun Jamilun. Why? Because we start with a noun, so we should have two dhamma here, and the adjective will follow it the same way with two dhamma. But in speech, we just say Muhammad Jamil or Wasim. We have another example now. If I wanted to change this sentence to a feminine sentence, instead of having Muhammad, I must have a name for a girl. So instead of having Muhammad, I would have Maha, for example, Suad, Nadia, Michelle for a girl, Jamilatun. So Maha Jamila, Maha Jamila. I repeat here. You hear Jamila, but it means Jamilatun. We added the tamarbut. Okay? So I will repeat masculine and feminine in Arabic are always either. So for human nouns, we we have male or masculine nouns, and we also have feminine nouns for female, masculine nouns for male, and the adjectives must follow. How can we distinguish the nouns or the adjectives from masculine to feminine? Just by adding the ta marbuta. See here we have this ta marbuta and we have another style of the ta marbuta. They are the same, but this one we use it like a circle with two dots on the top because we cannot connect the del with the ta. Here I can connect the ba with the ta. So this one looks different than this one. Okay? Example قريبة. But here I have a del, and a del like a ra, like a zay, cannot be connected with a ta. It won't be a del. It has to be like this. So you put next to it a circle with two dots. So male, male, female, female. The noun, noun, adjective, adjective. So the noun and the adjective follows. If it's feminine, we have to add the ta marbuta for feminine singular. I'm talking about singular. Okay? Noun with non-human nouns. Specifically, I will focus uh, on things. Like here we have a tree, a house. So a house in Arabic is bait, bait. Keep in mind that this is to a ta, but it's not a ta for feminine. No, this is a ta is part of the root of the noun bait. It's like a house. S is part of the word house or of the noun house. Here the same thing. So bayata, they are the base form of the word. They are the root of the word. They are the root of the noun bait, which means a house. Now because bait in Arabic is only masculine. So here I have to memorize slowly. Every time I acquire new vocab, I will know if they are feminine or masculine. So for non-human nouns, we cannot have both. Here I can have for masculine and feminine by adding the tamarbuta. For things I can't. It's either a masculine noun or a feminine noun. For example, bait is always a masculine noun. So if I wanted to describe bait with an adjective, it means with a nat or with the sifa. Sifa or nat means adjective. So I would say بيت صغير. See what I did? I did not add the tamarbuta because bait is masculine, so the adjective must follow it. Okay? Now, here I have another noun, another word, which means a region. So here a region, منطقة, or an area. منطقة. In Arabic, منطقة is a feminine noun, and you can see here a ta marbuta. منطقة. See here what I said? منطقة. But when we write, we must write the ta marbuta. So منطقة or منطقة صغيرة or صغيرة. تا مربوطة تا مربوطة. Okay? So it's very easy to distinguish between masculine and feminine when we are talking about human nouns. But here, you must memorize them and you must know for both, anyways. Um, there is a very important observation. There is no neutral word for it in Arabic, meaning if I'm talking, because this is related with non humans. So, for example, in English, you say it for things or for animals. So, it's a neutral pronoun. In Arabic, we don't. We have either hiya, which means she, or huwa. You are going to be surprised, maybe if you don't know this before. You say, how come? How can a house is he? Yes, it is. In Arabic, yes. So if I wanted to talk about this bait and I don't want to repeat again the noun bait, I would use a pronoun. So I will use هو. هو لي. هذا البيت لي. Or هو لي. Or you can say البيت هو صغير. هذا البيت صغير. هو صغير. So meaning huwa here refers to bait, to the thing, to bait. منطقة, for example, هي منطقة بعيدة. This is an area or a region that is far away. So منطقة, because it's a feminine noun for a non-human nouns, if I wanted to avoid repetition, I must use هي because it's a feminine noun. I would say هي منطقة صغيرة. هي. Okay? So keep this in mind that it's not like in English where you have, when you talk about things, you cannot refer them to she and he. So you would use the neutral pronoun it. No, in Arabic, we have huwa, we have hiya. Okay? Let's move on now to something very important now, which is Al-Nisbah, and I want to show you all of this first. So now the Nisbah adjectives. So when I say the Nisbah adjectives, meaning the Nisbah are adjective or the Nisbah is part of adjectives, but they are adjectives that they are talking about nationalities. Um, you are related to your country or to your city or to your state. So, for example, in Arabic, in English, you will say American, Canadian. In Arabic, we do this. For example, in formal Arabic, the shadda on the nisba ending ya is clearly pronounced, but in spoken Arabic, it is not normally pronounced in the masculine. What does it mean? If I wanted to give a nisba, so this is an adjective, which is the nisba. So when I said al-ustadu, so al-ustadu is the professor or the teacher. If I wanted to say his nationality in English, I would say the I start with the adjective. I would say the Egyptian professor. In Arabic, I would say al-ustadu misri. Al-ustadu misri, meaning I'm giving information about him that this professor is Egyptian. But in Arabic, we are not going to put a verb. So al-ustadu misri. See, here you have Misr. Misr is a country, Egypt. For me to use to have an adjective, a nisba adjective, I will just add to the country a ya. But you see here at the end, I put this ya. Why I put this ya? Because this is an independent ya. We put it at the end of a word. And then you see here the shadda. What does it mean, shadda? In Arabic, when you write a shadda, this is the equivalent of two letters. It means when you say Misri, as if you put ya and then you added another ya. Why? Because when we have this shadda, these three teeth on top of the letter, this means that we are insisting. You can see here, I will repeat and maybe you can hear me. If I say Misri, Misri, I'm not insisting, no shadda. This is colloquial, it's spoken. But in reality, in formal speech, we say Misri, Misri. See how I insisted on the ayah? Misri. Another example here, we are talking about a professor that he is Syrian. So you have here Suri. Here you are going to ask me, and it's a good question. Here you say Syria because this country is Misr. Yes, so we just added the ya. But here the name of the country is Syria. Syria. Well, we took the alif and we kept the ya. We cannot double it, but we put the shadda. Suri. Now, if I want to talk about feminine and mu'annath, remember, and mudhakkar meaning, yes, masculine. And if I say al mu'annath, this means feminine. So if I would like to talk about a professor or the professor, and I say this professor is Egyptian, and I'm talking about a female professor, I will just add a ta marbuta. الأستاذة مصرية. الأستاذة مصرية. See here, I insist but yeah. Why? Because I have a shadda. Now, maybe some of you, and I hope you are not, you will say, but I see a different letter. No, it's the same. This is a ya, and this is a ya. But this one, we use it at the end of a word. But this one, we can use it in the middle or at the beginning of a word, but not the end. That's why it's different because you need to connect something else to it. If we are talking about the male, because we have no other ta here, so we just write this flat, relaxed one like a duck. Same thing with al-ustad. Here we have suri. But if I am talking about a female professor that she is a Syrian, I would say al-ustada Suriya. Al-Ustada Suriya. And for the people who are still not fluent, anytime you hear ah or da, it means you have a tamarbota, but we do not pronounce when you speak. Okay? So I am not going to focus about the spoken or the dialects at all. I just focus on the formal Arabic, the the standards Arabic. Okay. Now, in Arabic, we can have nisba, but sometimes the nisba adjectives can be used as family names, and I know the Arabic will know this. For example, especially in the past, if somebody is from a country or from a city, when he moves to another place, they will call him, and it still exists until now. They will say they will still give his name with the country or the city that he's from. I will give you an example. For example, in Algeria, we have a doctor that came and settled in Algeria for a while, and he's from Iraq. So when we refer to him, we say, I went to the Iraqi, and as if it's his family name. And they exist now. Some people, they have a family name that it's a nisba adjective. Example here we have Al-Fasi, Al-Baghdadi, Al-Misri. And sometimes you will be amazed. For example, you find someone in Algeria and we call him Marrakshi. And Marrakesh is a city in Morocco. And this gives us the belief that he is or his family was originally from Morocco. So, again, in Arabic, the nisba adjectives can be used for family names. And this is very interesting. Now, we can use nisba adjectives for professions. Yes. And by the way, it's like in English. So when you say mechanic, a repairman or watch repair. So in Arabic, you just say mekaniki. Mekaniki, so you have here mekanik and you add the ya. So you are referring to someone's job. You say huwa mekaniki, mekaniki, and you add the ya. If she's a female and she's a mechanic, we'll do the same thing. So here you have another example. This one, if the person is watch repair who repair watches, in Arabic it will be sa'ati. Why? Because sa'a in Arabic means hour or it means the watch. So if I am referring to a job, to a profession, I would say sa'ati, sa'ati. And I have a shadda here because sa'ati, sa'ati. Okay, so keep this in mind. If we are using in Arabic, if we wanted to talk about uh, a nisba, for here we have some rules. If you have, for example, like here, you can see here, America, meaning the United States. Because here I have America with the alif at the end, this is the name of the country, America. If I would like to put a nisba, or if I wanted to use the adjective nisba, I will drop the alif. So I will take it and I will keep Amrik, and then I would add for a male the ya, like I said, the ya with the shadda. And for a female, I would just add the ta marbuta. So I won't say Amerikai, no, because this ends with the alif. I will take the alif and I will just add the ya with the shadda for male, and I add the ta marbuta to be a female. Now, if I have here, this is a profession. I have here maktaba. Maktaba meaning a library. Maktaba is a feminine noun for non-humans. So it's feminine, it's clear. If I wanted to use the nisba, I would drop the tamarbuta So I will have the base form of the word مكتب, mim, kaf, ta, and ba. And I will do the same thing. I will add the ya with the shadda. Why? Because we have to say مكتبي. Be careful here. This is very important because we have another ya for another role, and I'm not going to use it now, so you won't be confused. Here we are talking about adding a ya with the shadda when we are talking about nisba, okay? Like Suri, Misri, Ammani, Faransi, etc. So here I took the ta and I added the ya with the shadda for male. I'm talking here about nisba. And I will add the ta marbuta for a feminine, for feminine. Okay? So here remove all alif lam and ta and final ya. So see, if you have the alif lam for a country with alif lam, you take it out. I give you an example. If you have a Saudiya, Saudiya is a country, is Saudi Arabia. If I wanted to talk about the nationality, meaning a nisba, I will take the alif lam, which means the. I will take it, and I will uh, I will do the same thing. So instead, as Saudiya, it will be Saudiya. Then I will take the ta marbuta, and it will be Saudi, and we put the shadda. It happens with any country that already have at the end a ya, you do not double it, but you put the shadda on top. Like Suri, we did not because Surya, for example, Surya, it ends with the alif. We took the alif and we added the ya with the shadda. Another example, if I say السعودية, yaton, I take the ta and I will keep the ya and I will just add a shadda. Why I did this? Because Saudi Arabia already ends with the ya, and then ta marbuta, we just take the ta marbuta and we keep that ya. Okay? For example, we have Al-Urdun. Here we have an example with alif lam. So we have an example where we have a country that ends with the alif, we drop the alif, right? We have an example with well, it's not a country, but it's a place that ends with the tamarbuta. We took it and we added. By the way, this one is for profession, using a nisba for profession. The third one is a country that start with alif lam, because we cannot say for Jordan we cannot say Ordon, Al Ordon, Al Ordon. So the country is Al Ordon, but if I would like to use it for a nisba, I drop the alif lam and I will keep it this way, and I will do the same thing. I add the ya with the shadda for male and add the tamarbuta for female. Okay? Thank you very much. And please, you don't have to watch the whole thing at once. No. Watch the first part about masculine and feminine and understand the first part about human nouns. Work, do some examples, then go to non human nouns or non human nouns. Then you go to the nisba, and like I said, for nisba, we can use a nisba to talk about countries, states. For example, if I am from Detroit, I am a Detroiter. So in Arabic, we can do it. If I talk about my state, where I'm from, so my nationality, or if I am trying to relate with my state or with my city, we do this in Arabic. And when we talk about profession like mechanic, mekaniki, saati, okay? And here we have some rules in relation with if we have words that ends with the alif, you drop it. Ta marbuta, you drop it, and the alif lam also. Thank you very much, and I hope that the lesson and this video was helpful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.